felt like I just have a hard time sitting in one place,
Right.
sitting still for an hour or so.
I have been lucky to sneak on a couple of sets with you,
Yeah.
and I got a real, and it's the first time I've been on those big sets. You
Yeah.
you get a big sense for a
You
lot.
came to Star Trek too.
We'll talk about that shortly, but there seems to be a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
How do you maintain an intensity and an energy when you spend a lot of time between, and often I'm doing quite a lot of takes?
Well, I actually think that it's important to let it go. I like to just let it go.
Yeah.
And the great thing about working on something like Star Trek is that you have such a great time with everybody, you know,
Right, 'cause they're on
laughing
the
and
same.
you know, palling around and joking, and you know, I really think that actually helps the work.
Yeah.
You know, I think it would be.
Well, for something like that, when
You don't want to stay in that zone, you know, for too long.
let's talk about Trek.
Yeah.
How did that change the landscape in terms of your perception in Hollywood when you got cast as Bones?
I don't think it was so much when it got cast as Bones, because everyone's going, hey? But when it came out, it certainly, I think, engineered a paradigm shift in terms of the fact that people could look at me not just in a singular fashion of, oh, he's action guy or he's heavy dramatic guy. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
he actually can do comedy as well, and that was really important. That actually made a lot of people take another look at me, and I think provided a lot of opportunity. I mean, it directly led to me being cast in Red with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, and that was a bit of a fun time.
That was a fun time.
Yeah,
that was
Helen
good.
Mirren, John
Yeah.
Malkovich.
Yeah.
Is there another one of those happening?
Yeah, we're going to shoot another one of those this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And your characters are part of that as well?
Yeah.
That's good to be good getting those guys back together again.
Yeah, it's always fun.
When is Trek going to hit our screens, our second outing?
Well, I know it hits the States May next year.
Right.
So,
So your
should be
shoots,
around the time.
you're
yeah,
all
we're
done.
done. We're
Okay.
finished. Yeah.
Wow. Should we
Yeah.
get excited?
I think you should.
Yeah. The first one was a kind of a revelation, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was a big shot in the arm for the whole franchise of Star Trek. You know,
Yeah.
to have it treated in such a fresh and dynamic and modern kind of way, I think it was just what it needed. JJ's brilliant. He's one of the best directors I've ever worked with, without doubt.
And how did it feel going back and doing a second one? Was there a change and kind of shift on the set? Is there? I mean, there's a heightened expectation, but it was all.
It was surreal, actually. I mean, it literally, you know, the first day of walking on set, same director, same crew, same extras. I literally feel like Obama was about to be elected again for the first time. I mean, it was really weird. But the great thing was that we instantly just fell into that wonderful working relationship that we have. And you know, the good thing about success is that everyone knew their patch, their territory, and I think we were all able to take it to the next level.
With your career, I mean, I think it's widely known that you maintain a lifestyle in New Zealand, but you have a career that means that you're shooting in Marseille and you're shooting in South Africa, and you have spent a lot of time in Hollywood. How much of a disadvantage is it for you with your agent in LA when she can bring up, you can't just turn up and have a coffee with Scorsese that afternoon when you're based in New Zealand? How challenging is that?
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. You know, my commute is a 12-hour plane ride to LA, but that's the choice I've made, and that's, you know, I love living in New Zealand. That's my home. This is my culture, and I don't want to live any other way.
Obviously won a film award for Out of the Blue. Your commitment to the local film industry has been excellent. How are you feeling about the industry at this juncture? It's still something that you want to, if you've got the time, to get as involved in as you can. Do you get approached a lot by local filmmakers?
Yes, I do. Yeah, and it's about finding the right piece of material.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
you know, we are in constant communication with the New Zealand Film the New Zealand Film Commission about finding the right project, developing the right project. You know, I'm committed to continuing to contribute to the place where I started, and you know, and I'm particularly, you know, I love those New Zealand films that are grounded in New Zealand culture, not so much the ones that are, you know, derivative of product that you can get overseas. So, you know, I'm on the lookout for a good Kiwi flick. So if you know of one, you know one, I want to do one. Let's make it happen.
You'll get a lot more scripts across your desk, more and more so, particularly in the last couple of years. Is there a particular component or a gut feeling that will make you first want to read the whole thing from start to finish, second entertain, you know, looking further into it? Is there any one given thing, or is it just a feeling you get?
It's all about the character and the story. That's what it is. You know, certainly if I open a script and it's our intrepid hero is trudging through the Alaskan snow, I know that's going to be a tough shoot. It's a little bit more difficult to get into the script from that point.
Yeah, of course.
No, but look, no, seriously, you know, at the end of the day, you know, for me it's just about the caliber of collaborator that you get to work with. You know, and certainly signing on to something like DREDD, you know, having the backing of DNA, Alex Garland, you know, Anthony Dodd Mantle and the director, I knew that the sum of all that creative energy meant that the execution was going to have a level of quality that was going to meet people's expectations.
Now, as we know in the industry, as much as you get critical acclaim and the fans love it, it's all about punters buying tickets and going to see it and getting the box office in order to get a green light for a sequel. Because I mean, this DREDD as a shoo-in, it would feel to me as a character and as a story to have not just one sequel but many. With the R rating, that limits its box office potential a little, doesn't it? What's your gut feeling telling you about the...
Well, look, here's the thing. You know, we are really proud of this movie, and we're releasing it to the public. And if it strikes a chord, if it does well at the box office, then yeah, we'll make more. But you know, if this is a one-off cult classic, then I'm actually really happy with that, because it's a good one-off cult classic. Yeah.
You've had some great reviews from some big people in the business, and one piece that I particularly read, it was amazing what you did with that budget. It doesn't look like a cheap film, considering it's, you know, I mean, I think we're still talking 45 million US something as a budget. Right, it's still a lot of money, but it doesn't at all look cheap. But would you feel excited if they bowled up and said, you know, here's 150 million, go and make a DREDD sequel? How much do you think that kind of budget would add to it?
Well, that's interesting. You know, I think it would depend on the scope and scale of the story, and that one of the things that I really enjoyed about this film is that it was a pressure cooker film, and that it was a character-driven film. Yeah. And I think that you can run the danger just because people are flashing more money at the budget of film doesn't necessarily mean that translates into a better quality picture. So I think you have to be careful about that. And obviously, the more money you put into it, the more money that the film has to make.
I had a chat with Jeremy Renner last week with The Legacy, and I when I was checking into doing my research for that interview, it's fascinating how quickly, you know, he sort of hit 40 and then boom, you know, 2 Oscar nominations and big blockbuster films for him. It feels like to me that there is never sort of an age, a time in a male, or necessarily a female, but perhaps more a male actor's career, where it's all over Red Rover. And I sort of feel like you were literally just getting behind the wheel and taking off from here. Do you sort of get that sense as well?
Yeah, yeah. I certainly. I don't know. It's to me it is. It's a constant fight, and it's a constant struggle. You know, there's a list. You know, and DiCaprio's at the top of it. Pitt. You know, all those guys, and I'm down the list. So for me, you know, it's a fight to get the best role that I can after they've taken all the plum ones. You know, so hopefully that will that'll change. This will go through the roof. It'll blow up, and you know, we'll just continue to climb up that ladder.
You don't think that might mean that you might have to end up planting yourself in Hollywood for a couple of years, or do you think you can still manage to do this awesome?
I don't think so.
I mean, commute?
No, I don't see why that anything would change on that front. I'm a Kiwi boy, and look, if Peter Jackson can do it, I think he's a great inspiration to anyone that it can be done out of New Zealand, and that's the MO that I've chosen to adopt, and it's working so far.
Along with Sam Neill, who is a legend.
Love Sam.
Yeah. You'll both be on a par in terms of how well you've done for us overseas, though, career-wise, in terms of big screen roles. He's obviously been an inspiration to you over the years as well.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, before I even contemplated hopping on a plane and going over to LA, there was Sam Neill, whose work I was a fan of since the early days, since Sleeping Dogs, since Riley Ace of Spies.
Yeah, yeah, I used to love that.
And I think he's a national treasure.
Yeah. What do you think's the key to the longevity then in your career or anyone's career, given the changing concentration spans?
The key to his longevity, the key to
yours.
my longevity,
Yeah.
perseverance.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just keeping those boots planted in New Zealand.
That sounds good to me. Right, a couple of quickies, because there's a couple of things that seem to be on the go here. You shot a film called Overdrive. Don't know if it's still called that.
I haven't shot that.
Oh,
not attached to it.
not attached to it. I
Is
love
that IMDb
internet rumours.
information?
That's the only place I go, Karl. Obviously,
Yeah.
as an entertainment reporter, I don't look anywhere else.
Honestly, Kate.
Is there a new Riddick sequel?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
I shot a day on that.
Ah,
Yep. I
Okay.
basically helped transition the Chronicles of Riddick into Riddick's new adventure.
oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And lastly, we loved the Paramount 100 Years of Paramount photo. We loved seeing you standing there looking very glamorous on the stairwell near Harrison Ford, I think it was. What kind of day was that?
It was a good class photo.
It's a good class
It was a good class photo. That was incredible. It really was. I mean, you know, everybody was there, and you know, just to be standing amidst actors and directors whose work that you have admired for so long, who was in actual fact the inspiration for you getting into the career in the first place. It was definitely a pinch yourself moment.
Did you sort of think, I've made it?
No, I didn't. No, but I'll let you know when I do.
Can you do that?
Yeah,
Just a quick
well,
call.
yeah. Kate,
Okay.
I've made it. I've finally made it.